This video is brought to you by Magtame. In the month of May, Apple has revamped their iPad lineup with considerable upgrades. Both the iPad Pro and the iPad Air are met with new features and new chips. It's been a little while since Apple had made changes to the iPads, and I think most people were excited to see this set of tablets. The iPad Pro has a new chip, the M4, which promises to deliver 50% more power than the M2 chip. Now featuring a dual OLED display which consists of two physical OLED screens stacked on top of each other. Apple claims that this implementation provides better contrast in the colors, fuller darker areas such as deeper blacks, and a super vibrant color accurate display. It now also has an option to get a nano textured glass that's really good and holds up a lot better against light flares. However, the nano textured glass is only available to the 1TB and 2TB variants of the iPad Pro. It is newer technology, and I could maybe understand why Apple wants to make it a little more exclusive, but we'll touch up on that later. Okay, so this is the new iPad Pro, and first things first, guys, let's just tackle the elephant in the room. It is incredibly thin. I need you guys to take a closer look at this thing. It is like razor thin. And I'll be honest, when Apple said that this is the thinnest device they've ever made, I kind of have to believe it. Now, I know there are some other devices they've made out there, like the iPhone 6s, which was really thin, but this one is a close contender. With a device this thin and such a big, large screen, what does it exactly mean to have such a thin iPad? During the time that I've been using the iPad, I was often worried about dropping it. It's very thin, yes, but the main issue is that it is now also very light. So it can be very easy to misevaluate the size and the weight the first few times and not handle it properly. Also, by this time and point, I think it's safe to say that Apple loves to make their devices delicate and super prone to dropping. I don't know if it's just me, but when I use my phone caseless, or it's my iPad that I'm using without a case or anything on it, I have this constant anxiety that I'm gonna drop it, scratch it, break it. Anyway, you get the point. But this new form factor isn't all bad. It has some value to it. Being that it's lighter, it's easier to choose the 13-inch model now because it feels about as heavy as the last generation's 11-inch version. It becomes easier to carry in your everyday life, so whether you want to put it in your backpack, you're a student, a content creator, or rather you're just an average consumer and you wanted to get a bigger size iPad to consume media and just do your everyday tasks on it, it has now become an easier option for you to choose the 13-inch size, and we'll get into the specifics and to why maybe you should get the 13-inch a little bit later in the video. So with the launch of the new iPads, we also saw the launch of the new Apple Pencil Pro. At first, when I heard about it, I was a little skeptical. I really thought it was going to be just another version of the Apple Pencil with the Pro label just slapped on it. But after using it for a little while, the small new features are kind of nice. It features new advanced technology like squeeze, barrel roll, and haptic feedback that make marking up, taking notes, and creating drawings and sketches a lot more intuitive. It has the new squeeze feature where the pencil can sense the pressure and it will bring up a small interactive palette, allowing you to quickly switch between tools. It also has barrel roll powered by a gyroscope that allows you to rotate the pencil for precise control of shaped pens and brush tools. It also has a pencil hover, which for the most part it's not all that wow, nor is it really useful, but hey, it's still there. When I unboxed the iPad, I initially took a quick look at all of the things inside. It comes with a 20-watt charger and this USB-C cable that is just really not all that good. It feels cheap, it feels plasticky, it is braided, but it's not that good. So if I were you, I would literally just throw it away. But luckily, Magtame has some really nice cables and they sent over some, and it supports 240 watts and some support 60-watt charging, so you can really juice up the iPad super fast. But the best part about these cables is that they're very much convenient and they're super practical. So they have this magnetic feature within the cable. Not only are they braided, but they're also magnetic, which allows you to really keep them nice and clean together. It avoids all clutter. So when using these cables, it is very easy to create a new system for yourself. It charges your devices really quickly and efficiently, but not only that, it also avoids clutter, and the cables are not too long, so they're gonna just do the job just right. It supports fast watt charging up to 240 with this cable, so it's really powerful. Now, in a lot of scenarios, you can actually use these cables in very small, little compact places, and that's actually the perfect case for me. So here I'm charging the iPad Air with this little cable. It's super neat, it's tucked in, keeps everything super minimal, so it's very clean. It allows to keep the whole place clean together, and it looks super good. And the best part is that whenever you're done using them, it's super easy to just tuck them away. You just roll it back on itself, it magnetically clips on, and then you put it away. It's also very convenient for traveling, so this is something that I typically benefit a lot from, and things like this just make my life so much easier. It's super small and compact. I just put it in the front pocket, as you'll see here. It's a rather small backpack, but this thing takes absolutely no space, so it's amazing. I could literally bring both cables, and the best part is that you can actually use this USB-C cable in other scenarios as well. So here I use it to charge my PlayStation 5 controller, which is nice. It keeps the whole space nice and clean, and look at how much better this cable looks. So if you guys are interested in these Magtame cables, go ahead, check out the link in the description down below. They're really nice, and I'm telling you guys, this is something that initially I wasn't too sure about, but once I tried them, I really love them, and I go buy them every single day. So check out the link in the description down below. Now with that said, here's the big issue, no pun intended, with this new form factor. There's just one thing that really bothers me, and that's really the design of the new Apple Pencil Pro and how it holds up with this iPad. Due to the fact that it's thinner than its predecessor, they had to redesign the Apple Pencil, hence why they have now an Apple Pencil Pro, and they had to redesign the magnet on the top since it's very thin, and this one has to sit on it somehow. But with that redesign, I find that the iPad has a little bit of inconsistencies when it comes to that. So there's many times where I just put the iPad on the table, and I feel like because I'm coming at it from like this angle, which kind of makes normal sense, the pencil hits the table first, and it just kind of creates this inconvenience where sometimes I'm putting the iPad on the table or wherever I'm at, and I feel like I'm always afraid to lose my pencil. Although the magnet has been redesigned and it is now a little stronger and it's supposed to kind of counter that, it still has a bit of scares here and there. So if you were like me and you didn't rock anything on it, so not a case, well, I mean, you can get a case on Amazon. They're pretty affordable, so that's not a problem. But if you wanted to get a smart photo keyboard, which you decided to opt out since it's basically almost $400 here in Canada, which is a crazy amount for a smart photo keyboard, and you don't have a case yet because you just bought the iPad, then I would definitely recommend you to keep an eye out on how you use the tablet, where you leave it. It's sensitive, it's vulnerable, even though it is premium and it has good quality materials. Be careful, get a case, whatever the case may be, no pun intended. I highly advise you to do so. However, this new Apple Pencil Pro now has a Find My Pencil feature, which has been long overdue. I think we should have had this from the get-go with the very first Apple Pencil. You can now use the iPad to locate where your pencil is. So if ever you were to lose your Apple Pencil, maybe in a nearby region, so somewhere in the house, maybe in the basement, wherever the case may be, you can easily find it with Find My Pencil. It's a good feature. Better late than never. Before I get into the battery life of this iPad, let's talk about the nanotexture display and the experience on it. I think most people would compare the screen to the paper-like screen film that is available on the market for iPad users, but make no mistake, it isn't exactly the same, and don't treat the nanotexture display like the paper-like film, because that one is only about $35 and easily replaceable. As for the screen on the iPad, not so much. On the bright side, the screen is worth the money. It's visually appealing, it holds up very well in a room with alternating lighting situations, for example in a living room where the light can reflect from the window. It also feels very different when it comes to everyday usage with the Apple Pencil. I love using the iPad in general for leisure and more specifically for drawing. For that matter, my drawing experience on the bigger screen has been really good and most of all, a lot of fun. The combination of the new nano-textured glass and the new features of the Apple Pencil Pro are great for artists and for people like me who will often create and draw. But fear not, if you're not an avid artist, the feel of it to the touch is also great. It feels a lot more organic and it feels less like a digital screen. It's hard to explain and really showcase throughout the video, but trust me, the screen is really nice and refreshing. I have also noticed that it is much better on the eyes. So if you were to consume media later in the evening, it's less harsh on the eyes. With that said, watching videos and movies on this tablet is nothing short of amazing. The colors are rich and vibrant, the blacks are super dark. You would also get a similar viewing experience on the normal OLED display. It would just be a little bit more glossy and have more glare and not a matte finish. Although, be wary, this screen and the body of this iPad collect fingerprints like crazy. And I mean, like seriously, like crazy. Now, let's talk about battery life. Before I even explain myself, it's just not that good, and I believe it's because of the new form factor. The new thinner body makes the iPad lighter overall, but it suffers when it comes to battery life. The new M4 chip delivers great power, but that takes a hit on the battery life. On a full charge, it will get you through a whole day no problem. You could push it even to 2 days with light to moderate usage. However, when using multitasking features like having 2 apps open at once with the split screen option, that's where the battery starts to take a hit and it drops pretty fast. As mentioned earlier, I love to draw, and more than often, I will have my drawing page open and a reference tab on the side, whether that's Pinterest, Google Images, or stuff of that nature. But this is when the battery drains, and it's most likely due to the fact that the M4 chip is ready to deliver high power on both tabs at all times. But overall, the battery life is alright. It's not stellar, but it's okay. Now with all that being said, this whole package with the new nano textured glass, the 1TB SSD storage, the 13-inch form factor comes in at $3,000. Now I know that seems absurd for an iPad, a device that can't fully replace a MacBook, doesn't have its dedicated iPad desktop OS, and is limited to minimal customization with widgets. Therefore, here's why I recommend the new iPad Air. Okay, so the new iPad Air has seen a simple but yet great refresh. So it's now powered by the M2 chip, which offers 20% more performance than the M1 found in the last generation of the iPad Air. It now also comes in 2 screen sizes, offering the new 13-inch model, which comes in just under $1,000 here in Canada. The base model of the iPad Air now also comes with a base storage of 128GB for both models, so the 11-inch and the 13-inch. So now we raise the question, why even buy the iPad Pro in the first place? Honestly, as someone who likes to be transparent about things and not sugarcoat stuff, it's very hard to justify this purchase. Many of the features on the Pro can be found on the Air, and if not, can be added to a certain degree. The nano textured glass can be simulated to a certain extent with the paper-like screen film. The Apple Pencil Pro is now fully compatible and supported on both the Pro and the Air. There's a smart foil keyboard that is available for both models. The M4 chip delivers more power, yes, but the M2 chip also has a significant leap in performance for the iPad lineup in general. If anything, it's just easier for me to recommend the iPad Air because it now has the 13-inch screen that matches the bigger screen of the iPad Pro, the form factor of the Air, which is not thinner, so it has better support and space for the Apple Pencil and Apple Pencil Pro, and ultimately, of course, the price. $1,000 compared to $3,000 is a huge difference, and I mean, with $3,000, you can get an iPad Air with the 13-inch screen and even a MacBook Air with the M3 chip and upgraded RAM. Now, all to say, the new iPad Pro is good, but it still lacks in several areas. It has a lot of potential that is left on the table and comes in at prices that are very high to say the least. Hey, who knows, maybe in the future we'll get better support for the iPad and then it might become more of a worth it option, but we'll have to wait and see. But let me know, what are your thoughts on the new iPad Pro and the new iPad Air? I would love to see what you guys think, and I'm curious to know if you think the iPad Pro is worth it or not. Would you buy the iPad Air or the iPad Pro? Let me know in the comment section down below. With that said, I wish you the best of luck in anything you do, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces.